region. The Ukrainian authorities say 2,000 settlements are without power, with the Odessa and Mykolaiv regions particularly affected. Blizzards and snowdrifts have blocked roads, and the emergency services are trying to rescue people trapped in vehicles. BBC News. Sierra Leone's information minister has said that Sunday's armed attacks on key installations amounted to a planned and coordinated attack on the security and well-being of the country. But the minister, Chenol Bar, told the BBC that the culprits had been repelled.
There's a manhunt for some of them, including some of the people that they released from the detention facilities yesterday. And we expect this manhunt to continue to lead to more and more information. We have apprehended some of the major leaders of yesterday's attacks, and they are currently being interrogated by our security forces. Once we can ascertain the full intent of their actions, we will make a declaration on whether it was in fact an attempted coup. What is clear is that whatever it was, it failed.
A nationwide curfew has been lifted, but night curfews will be imposed from 9 p.m. local time. Family members whose relatives were on board the Malaysian Airlines flight MH370 that disappeared on its way to China almost 10 years ago are attending court in Beijing to secure compensation. The passenger aircraft, with 239 people on board, was on a routine flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing when it vanished off the radar screens. North Korean soldiers have been seen restoring border guard posts that had been dismantled as part of a peace deal reached with South Korea 5 years ago. Tensions have been rising between the two Koreas after Pyongyang launched a spy satellite last week, prompting Seoul to announce it was engaging in surveillance and reconnaissance along their shared border. Health officials in Pakistan have launched a nationwide polio campaign to immunise children under the age of 5. Officials say during the next 5 days they expect to vaccinate about 40 million children. Pakistan and Afghanistan are the two remaining countries where wild polio virus is still endemic. 5 cases have been reported this year. BBC News.
Hello, this is the History Hour with Max Pearson. Remarkable stories from witness history on the BBC World Service. Coming up, terrifying first-hand accounts of confronting rampaging gunmen in Mumbai 15 years on. A heatwave that caused thousands of deaths in Paris 20 years ago. Also, a top-flight goalkeeper suffers a terrible injury. And one frothy story, the invention of bubble tea. But before that, we're going back to the 1960s and the era of rolling back colonial rule across Africa. Britain, France, Spain, Portugal, Germany and Italy had at one time carved up the continent. But by the middle of the 20th century, the winds of change were blowing. In 1964, Zambia became a republic. It was the 9th African state to leave British colonial rule. Laura Jones tells the story.
This is indeed a time to rejoice in the whole of Zambia and in the whole of Africa and all over the world, because another new baby has been added to the family.
That's just a taste of the celebrations which went on through the night of October the 23rd, 1964. Independence would come at midnight on the 24th. President Kenneth Kaunda was about to take full charge of Zambia. He and his childhood friend Simon Kapwepwe had been leaders of the fight to break away from Britain. Their joint efforts began in earnest in the 1950s. Here's Malenga Kapwepwe, Simon's daughter.
Discussing what would the country be called, and what about the national anthem, and what about the emblem, the flag, all these kind of stuff that were actually going to create the identity of the country.
Kaunda and Kapwepwe had grown up together in the countryside under colonial rule, and then seen the change to being a British protectorate, where the country had its own local leaders, but was under indirect rule from Britain, as part of the Federation of Rhodesia and Nyasaland. That included what is now Malawi and Zimbabwe. Malenga says they lived in segregated Lusaka initially.
We were living in a part of Lusaka called Chilenje, which was a part that was designated for black people. The city was well divided during those days along racial lines.
Simon was confident there would be independence one day, so he tried out new names for his country, writing in his diary. He wanted the name to reflect one of the unique resources of the nation.
He zeroes down to Zambezi, because that's another huge river. It kind of threads through Zambia, goes into Angola, comes back in. goes into Zimbabwe. Its source is in Zambia. So idea that came to him, I guess, was Zambezia. And then he writes a note on the side, like with question marks, like province in Mozambique, because I think he realized there's a province in Mozambique called Zambezia. So he crossed that out, and then he writes Zambezi. Then he crosses. Then he writes Zambia.
So, names sorted for their future republic, ready for the time of independence, which Simon, along with Kenneth Kaunda and friends, were determined would come soon. And by October 1958, they had set up their own political party, which the British government wasn't happy about. Malenga remembers having to leave her country suddenly and go to Tanzania to escape the authorities.
Getting on a truck, and it looked huge, and heading off into the night. And I remember for the first time I saw the ocean, and we had arrived in Dar es Salaam. Basically, what was happening was that I think my father had to skip the country and stay out of the way of the colonial government who were hunting these guys down, who were agitating for independence.
By 1960, the colonial government realised they couldn't stop the change being called for. Kapwepwe and Kaunda had formed a new political party. They were invited to London to discuss the future of the three countries, and the federation was eventually dissolved on New Year's Eve of 1963, with Malenga's father Simon Kapwepwe becoming foreign minister.
Moving to now a residential area that had been whites only, because my father was now part of the coalition government that had happened as we moved towards total independence.
Zambia, formerly Northern Rhodesia, elections for first all-African government this month, 20th and 21st of January. Independence probable in 1964. Economy very healthy because of ample copper.
And in October 1964, the Republic of Zambia was created.
Eventually, everything kind of came together on the 24th of October when we actually gained independence, because, then all those discussions actually became real, and my parents suddenly became very busy. I think the Princess Royal was coming from England to officiate on behalf of the Queen.
On this happy day, Zambia takes her place in the world as a sovereign state.
My mother made us all special dresses for independence. There was this chitenge, which is a fabric that is kind of the print that we wear. There had been a special independence chitenge that was printed, and my mom made us all outfits from that fabric, and we wore those for the independence celebrations. But I think the thing that stood out to me mostly was when we went to the Independence Stadium on the 23rd of October, and I remember at midnight this lone soldier walked up to the flagpole, and the whole place was silent, and there was a bugle. The Union Jack came down, and at exactly midnight the Zambian flag for the first time went up on the flagpole.
And now the new flag of Zambia, green, red, black and yellow with a spread eagle, has gone up. There you hear the acclamation from the people, with the governor and the president of the new Republic of Zambia, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, standing right in the middle.
The mood in the stadium and the jubilation and everything that was in the air was just amazing. And then the fireworks went off, and I remember the gun salutes, because I remember the smoke stinging my eyes. It was an amazing experience.
This new national anthem you're hearing was recorded by the BBC at Zambia's independence celebrations.
Africa is ours. It's a sight I cannot even describe it to you. My back is standing on end, my hair is lifting up. It is something fantastic. The sight of Dr. Kaunda all worked out on this board in fireworks with sparks flying off him.
When the celebrations were over and we went to the car to go home, I remember that the number plates on the cars had changed from the ones that used to be before independence, which was NRG, Northern Rhodesia government, and the new number plates were on the car, and it was GRZ, which is government of the Republic of Zambia. And the flag was different. It was now the green, red, orange, and black flag that was now on the car. And that was for me that was like a very big statement, like, okay, Everything's now changed. Now we're in Zambia. Northern Rhodesia is gone.
Malenga's father, Simon Kapwepwe, was foreign minister in Kaunda's first government, later deputy prime minister. But after a disagreement over the country's direction, he resigned in 1971, set up his own political party, and then was later put in jail by his childhood friend Kenneth Kaunda.
It was very strange, I think, to see the two friends who had been really, really close, and I think who consulted each other on almost every decision, fall out in that big way. I think, thankfully, both their mothers were no longer alive, because I don't know what their mothers would have said about that. Yeah, so they fell out. My father was in detention for like more than a year. I remember my father, coming to wake us up, because, they always did this in the middle of the night, coming to wake us up and saying, I'm being detained, and, him showing us the detention order. And it was signed by, that was the first time I saw Kaunda's signature. It was on my father's detention order.
Simon later went home to the Chinzali district to live on a farm. He died in 1980. Malenga helped organise the 50th anniversary celebrations of Zambian independence in 2014.
When I went to get Kaunda to come and sit him at where the VIP were seated, he walked out of the lift and he was wearing the same toga that he and my father had been wearing in 1964. And that was a very emotional moment for me, I think the other emotional moment for me was seeing that flag going up again 50 years later, at midnight, and the crowd roaring just as it had, in 1964.
Malenga Kapwepwe was speaking to Laura Jones. Well, Dr. Alfred Tembo is head of history at the University of Zambia, based in the capital Lusaka, and is with us now. So, Dr. Tembo, we've heard about how Zambia achieved independence in 1964, and notwithstanding the personal policy differences at the top, which we've also heard about. What were the challenges that faced the government immediately after independence?
Many challenges, such that the celebrations of independence could not even last very long. And one of these challenges was the lack of qualified manpower, which was to run the country's various social and economic sectors. For example, Zambia only had 100 university graduates by the time she attained her independence in 1964. And so there were challenges on personnel who was going to run the mines, for example, or the education sectors. We didn't have qualified people that could do that. And so this made Kaunda's government to get hitting the ground very early on to promote the education sector in the country, such that 2 years down the line, the University of Zambia was established as a way of contributing to manpower development.
And was it successful in terms of setting up an educated workforce?
Well, it was, of course, in the medium to long term, and not immediately, because it takes quite a bit of time to get people graduate from the universities. So various faculties were established. I think they started with 3 faculties of the social sciences, natural sciences, and one to do with education. And the education faculty was the biggest because it had to play a key role in training teachers who were then going to go out to teach pupils who then later come to the university to study.
And this would all have been funded by the revenues from the abundant copper in the north of the country. And in the 1960s and 70s, there would have been a degree of optimism about the country's prospects. But then we come to the 1980s, when Zambia faced serious economic problems. What happened?
Well, by the 1980s, Zambia's economy began to face major setbacks, mainly because the price of copper had gone down. And at the same time, there is the oil crisis which began in the mid-1970s, such that by, say, 1983 or so, the country had a huge debt, because its revenues had gone down. And so Zambia could not easily pay her debts to multilateral lenders such as the IMF, the World Bank. And so this created hyperinflation in the country, such that the Zambian government had to seek help to help her pay back this debt. But then the IMF and the World Bank introduced austerity measures. For example, they told the Kaunda government to remove subsidies on maize meal, which is a major staple food that most of the country's people eat. Once subsidies are removed on foods such as mealie meal, then this creates a huge problem for the mass population in the country, because people could not easily afford to buy these foods. And so what happens is that by 1986, there are food riots on the copper belt in the Lusaka region and so on, mainly owing to high prices of consumer goods.
How were those problems resolved?
So Kaunda would say, let us then do away with the IMF and World Bank austerity measures. So what he does is he tells his Minister of Finance to create a homegrown economic policy or economic program which would do away with the IMF austerity measures. and government would try to reintroduce subsidies which they had removed earlier on in the 1980s. So by so doing, subsidies are reintroduced and prices a little bit stabilize. But this is not sustainable in the sense that the country was simply broke. And by 1989, Kaunda goes back to the IMF and World Bank again to say, well, put us back on an IMF structure adjustment program.
So it's economically chaotic, but also politically. By that point, Kenneth Kaunda had effectively turned the country into a one-party state, which would have had its own problems if they had not been resolved by a return to democracy.
Very correct, because by 1972, Kaunda had introduced a one-party state. So, in as much as the country is going through economic hardships, this was worsened by the lack of tolerance to divergent views. Because from 1972 to 1991, Zambia was being ruled by a one-party state. And coupled with these socio-economic challenges, shortages of consumer goods, political intolerance, student movement protests, and so on and so forth, the government is then forced to reintroduce multi-party politics in order to heed what people's cries were all about.
And so now in Zambia, is there what you might call stable multi-party democracy?
Zambia has been a multi-party stable democracy from 1991 to date. We've had, I think, 3 changes of political parties since then. Economically, well, we try, but of course, with challenges still there, especially to do with the debt mound, which is quite something that the government is struggling to meet today.
That's Dr. Alfred Tembo, head of the History Department at the University of Zambia. Next, we're going back 15 years to one of the most terrifying and dramatic moments in India's recent history. On the 26th of November 2008, 10 gunmen from the Pakistan-based militant group Lashkar-e-Taiba carried out coordinated attacks on Mumbai's busiest locations. 166 people were killed and hundreds more were injured. Dan Hardoon has been speaking to Devika Rotawan and Arun Jadhav, who both came face-to-face with the militants.
Every second of that night feels like an hour to me. I remember it so well.
I thought this constant firing is now going to hit my chest or my head at some point. I was praying, and I thought I was going to die.
Among the first locations to be targeted was the Chhatrapati Shivaji terminus, one of India's busiest railway stations. At around 9:20 p.m, 2 of the gunmen, Ajmal Kasab and Ismail Khan, entered the passenger hall, firing AK-47s and hurling hand grenades. Among the crowds was Devika Rotawan, just 9 years old at the time.
There were children, there were elderly people, just waiting, and as soon as the firing started, everyone started running here and there. People were so panicked that they were pushing other people, trying to save their lives. Some people were getting hit in the head. There was blood splattering, and people were lying injured everywhere.
Devika's brother had gone to the toilet, but there was no time to look for him. She and her father ran for their lives.
While we were running, the bullet came and struck my leg, and in the chaos, I saw this guy with a gun. He was shot. He almost had a smile on his face, and it felt like he was getting a kick out of it.
Devika was seriously wounded by the bullet lodged in her leg and taken to hospital.
It was so chaotic that doctors were sometimes having to operate people without giving them sedatives, and I was just a little girl, so I was very scared. I had only seen fighting and guns and that kind of thing in movies.
58 people died in the attack on the train station. Devika, her father and brother survived. While she recovered in hospital, Kasab and Khan continued their rampage. At 10:30 p.m, they launched another attack on the Karma Hospital for women and children. Policeman Arun Jadhav and 6 of his colleagues were dispatched to the scene in a police car.
As soon as we entered, the firing started on our car. I also fired back. I fired 3 rounds, and that is when Kasab got injured. And in that ambush, 6 members of our car died. My right hand was hit by 3 bullets. My shoulder was also injured, and I was slumped over in my seat.
Ajmal Kasab and Ismail Khan pulled out 3 of the dead officers and drove off in the police car. They thought the 4 officers in the back of the car were all dead, But Arun was still alive. His colleague Yogesh Patil was slumped over him on the back seat, breathing shallowly.
I could see Kasab from the small gap between the seats. I could hear him talking in the northern Hindi dialect. And then Yogesh's phone started ringing, and that is when the attackers got alerted that there is someone in the back who might be alive, and they fired again. That bullet killed Yogesh. And if it had been even half a centimeter to the side, it would have killed me too.
The attackers sped off towards Mumbai's Metro cinema, shooting at bystanders from the window. Arun was close enough to have a clean shot at both of them, but earlier in the day he'd given his 9mm pistol to another officer. He only had his loaded automatic rifle, which was too heavy to lift with his injured hand. He had little choice but to lay low and pretend he was dead.
If I were to make any noise, even a slight cough or heavy breathing, I would have been killed by the terrorists. I was there for 20 minutes, and every second of that time, I felt like I saw my death in front of me. There were a lot of things going through my mind. I was thinking of my family and my colleagues who had died that night. I was also thinking about the sense of duty that we have as police officers. I felt like I had been given an opportunity to nab these attackers, and I was concentrating on making sure that I did not let that opportunity go away.
The car's right tyre had been punctured by the gunfire, so the attackers eventually abandoned the car and hijacked a Skoda, heading towards the city beach. Alone in his police car, Arun seized his moment.
I took the wireless headset, and I immediately alerted the other policemen that the attackers had taken this other car. Within 10 minutes, the car was stopped, Khan was killed, and Kasab was taken into custody.
Although these gunmen had been stopped, other members of the group continued to lay siege to the city. Over the next 60 hours, hostages were held at the Taj and Oberoi hotels and a Jewish community centre. The city was locked down as police searched for and killed most of the remaining attackers. It wasn't until restrictions were lifted that Arun's family were able to visit him in hospital.
I had escaped the jaws of death, and when I saw them, I was speechless. I only had gratitude in my mind, gratitude for God that I had somehow survived this.
Of the 10 men who attacked Mumbai, Ajmal Kasab was the only one captured alive by police. His trial began in April 2009. Devika Rotawan testified to his atrocities at the train station. Were you daunted by the prospect of getting up on the witness stand and reliving your memories of that day?
I was not at all scared. I walked into that courtroom with a deep grudge in my mind. I wanted revenge. It felt like they had stolen my childhood. I was very small, obviously, but at times I used to feel like I wished someone could give me a gun so I could kill him myself.
And do you remember how Kasab came across during the trial?
He was mostly just expressionless. There was no sign that he was feeling any guilt or repentance about what he had done.
Also giving evidence at the trial was Arun Jadhav.
Kasab had already confessed, but he had not mentioned the car incident. And my testimony helped the authorities pin down Kasab and give him the death sentence.
On the 3rd of May 2010, Ajmal Kasab was found guilty of offences including murder and waging war against India. He was sentenced to death by hanging and executed in 2012.
I was very happy when I got to know that he had been given the death sentence. I got calls from police officers, the media, and they were saying, "Congratulations, child. This attacker is going to be hanged." But it was only 50% happiness because Kasab was like a little mosquito. The actual mastermind of the attacks is still out there.
Although some of Lashkar-e-Taiba's leaders have been jailed in Pakistan for financing terror, many feel that the attack's perpetrators have yet to face true justice. For Arun and Devika, their lives have been permanently changed by what they went through that day.
There are nights when I'm awake at 2, 3 a.m. I'm not able to sleep. I just keep thinking about the attacks, so I start chanting God's name.
Before the attacks, I was just a small girl enjoying her childhood. Now I've finished my studies and I want to join the Indian Police Service. I want to end terrorism and do something for my country.
Devika Rotawan and Aaron Jadhav were talking to Dan Hardoon and taking us right to the heart of those violent and shocking attacks in Mumbai 15 years ago. Oral history at its most raw. Stay with us, there's more from the History Hour in just a moment.
This is the BBC World Service, and Simon Matambo is asking why bees are dying. His journey for answers starts in Kenya.
They come from a place called Tharaka, the land of bees. They are sacred to us, but something strange and worrying is happening where I live.
It's really sad to see that when you tell people Tharaka is land of bees, the next question is, where are the bees?
In the last 10 years, I and many of us have noticed that our bees are in decline.
75% of our food in the world depend on pollination.
Are they disappearing everywhere? What does that mean for all of us?
We are saying that we want to move towards a zero hunger world. We cannot do that if we don't take care of our bees.
I need to find out what is happening.
A Man Without Bees at bbcworldservice.com/documentaries or wherever you get your podcasts.
Coming up in part 2 of the History Hour, we remember how Europe was hit by a deadly heatwave 20 years ago. Lost memoirs of a Manchester United footballer rediscovered.
It'll do chat to you about me then. Stop this tape a minute. Watch this. It's only 5 minutes. You've got nothing on the tape. You've got nothing on the tape.
And how bubble tea came to be invented.
I always say it was a miracle.
That's after a summary of today's world news.
BBC News with Emily Thomas. Both Israel and Hamas are reported to have raised concerns over the list of hostages and prisoners set to be released on Monday, the fourth and final scheduled day of the temporary ceasefire in Gaza. Qatari mediators are said to be working with both sides to resolve the problems. This comes amid indications Israel's offering a further day of pause in the fighting in Gaza for every 10 captives released, with Hamas saying it could agree to an extension. The European Union's head of diplomacy, Josep Borrell, has said a Palestinian state in the West Bank, East Jerusalem and Gaza would be the best guarantee for Israel's peace and security. The Spanish Foreign Minister, José Manuel Albares, has called for a peace conference. Leaked documents obtained by the BBC suggest that the United Arab Emirates has been using its role as host of this year's UN climate talks as an opportunity to strike oil and gas deals. The UAE's COP28 team said private meetings were private. Hundreds of thousands of people in Ukraine, including Russian-occupied Crimea, have been left without electricity as a powerful storm continues to batter the region. Sierra Leone's Information Minister, Cherno Ba, has said that Sunday's armed attacks on key installations amounted to a planned and coordinated assault on the security of the country, but it failed. 6 teenagers have gone on trial behind closed doors in Paris for their alleged roles in the beheading of a teacher, Samuel Paty, who'd shown caricatures of the Prophet Muhammad to his class as part of a lesson discussing free speech. Police in northwest Pakistan say they're investigating the killing of an 18-year-old woman. Village elders had allegedly called for her death because she'd appeared in a video on social media. That was the latest world news from the BBC, with me, Emily Thomas, in London.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Of the History Hour with Max Pearson. Still to come, years after his death, we
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and intact? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination intact. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Best radio show. Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car,
At work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK. Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Though your heart is aching, smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Hey, this is Archie and you are listening to Starr Radio UK and the Morning Show.
This is Starr Radio UK. Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Welcome. Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio. Starr Radio. Radio for the people, by the people.
Welcome.
Love for you runs deep. All of you makes my heart beat. You make a doubt they fade. Jesus, and that's what makes you great. Hold the world in your hands. The hand that made me who I am. Same God now, yesterday.
Okay, let me say a massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. I want to salute each and every one of you and say welcome to the Starr Radio UK Monday edition of the morning show. Today is the 27th day of November, the year 2023. And the time now is exactly 10:43 from the hearts of London. And as I said, welcome on board, wherever you might be this morning. Keep your dial so logged on Starr Radio UK and look no further, look nowhere. We are here and you are with me. And I say welcome to the show.
To be praised.
I remain yours sincerely, the one and only.
This is the morning show with Archie.
So from now to 12:30, I'm going to bring you everything that you need to know, from archaeology to zoology, from Accra to Zanzibar. I'm going to bring you everything that you need to know if it's making the rounds this morning. Fortunately, we might not have the privilege of having my brother and co-presenter, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, this morning, because he has to see to some of the little ones this morning. Yes, and I hope that they are all going to be doing very, very well pretty soon. You know, the weather changes here, and it comes with its own malaki, right? But wherever you are, I'm so grateful that you have joined us today, this morning, where we're going to be looking at everything that we need to know. Here am I. For those of you who have not seen me, here am I. You could hear my voice, but you couldn't see me. Here am I. I am Archie, your one and only Archie. And again, welcome aboard. But let me say morning to my colleague and co-presenter, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, once again, and to Mr. Francis Guy, my producer, HRH Linda Pallien, all the way in Cyprus. I salute you. Yas Antua and Mr. Pallien as well. I salute each and every one of you. To all the presenters on Starr Radio UK who have held our backs and seen to everything that we need to be doing or we're doing till now, I am so grateful to you all, and I say God richly bless you. Okay, so we're going to be moving on from there. Let me say good morning to my own bishop, my bishop Adeshina, all the way in Lagos, Nigeria, and to all your colleagues at the RBS office in Lagos, Nigeria. I salute you and I say welcome on board. Anthony Adedeji, good morning. Shamsuddin, good morning. Aziz, good morning. Hey, my own Rachel, good morning to you. I hope you are doing very, very well as well.
Jesus, and that's what makes you.
Can I take this opportunity to also say good morning to Felix all the way in Aberdeen, Captain Felix Setter as well. Good morning to you, Reverend Michael Esiama, Mr. Kid Yosin, and all of you guys here in the UK. Now those of you who listen to us in the US as well, I salute each and every one of you, and I say welcome to the program. This is Starr Radio UK, and this is the morning show, the Monday edition. Okay, so if it's your first time of tuning in, this is how the program is going to go. As I did say earlier on, normally we should have Mr. Olayomi Koiki joining in at exactly 11 o'clock to bring you updates from Nigeria. However, today he's not going to be able to do that, but I'm here. I'm going to bring you all the stories that is put across for me to bring your way. Then after that, we move on to have a look at some of the other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world as well. But that will be preceded by the quotes for the day, the weather forecast, and the travel updates. And then we'll go global trotting. Then at 11, from 11 thereabout, we'll start bringing you all that you need to know. At 12 o'clock, the lines are open for you to add your voice to the discussion. Then at 12:30, we'll bring the program to a close for all preparing the grounds for HRH Linda Pallien to join in from all the way Cyprus to bring you Career 101. So that's what's going to happen today. So wherever you are, once again, share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages.
You make a golden fade, and that's what makes you great. You are God. You will never change. You remain the same till the end.
How many days more for the Christmas, and how are you preparing for it, or how have you been prepared for it? From next week, I'll be bringing you some Christmas news from there, you know. Okay, so the quote for the day says, look for the inner beauty in people, the touch of the divine. Yeah? Yes, that's what you have to be looking out for, because if you want to look at everybody have got their bats. I've got my bat, you've got your bat, everybody, nobody is an expert. We are human beings and therefore we are all fallible. However, look in the inner beauty. There is something inside there that will surprise you. That's what God put there. Alright? Okay, so let's move on straight to the weather front. Well, for those of you in London and the southeast of England, well, over the weekend we had a very cold weather snap that is on, but it's still going to continue. Today will be dull and day and a damp day. That's what it's saying. Today is going to be a dull and damp day, and then it will be cloudy with outbreaks of rain, heavy in places. The rain will become lighter and patchier later in the afternoon. Now this evening and the first part of tonight, we'll see further showers in places. Through the early hours, it will turn dry with a mix of clear spells and areas of cloud. The top temperature is going to be 10 degrees, the lower is going to be 4 degrees, a bit milder than it was over the weekend. Now UV level is going to be low, pollution is going to be low as well. Sunset is going to be at 15:58, and the sunrise for tomorrow morning is 07:37 hours. And that brings us to the end of the weather forecast for you. So coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, and that takes me straight to the travel update. So wherever you are, don't touch the dial. We're going to be going to the travel.
Great are you, Lord. Great are you, Lord. Great is to be praised.
Okay, so Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. On the travel this morning, for those of you using the underground, well, the Central line has got minor delays, Elizabeth line, part suspension, and Piccadilly line, severe delays. That aside, all the others are running good service.
All of you makes my heart.
But then that takes us straight to the major roads in London. On the major roads in London, I can tell you actually this morning, no exceptional delays if you are traveling or using them. Now on the riverbank this morning as well, there's good service on all the other routes apart from the Woolwich Ferry that's got a reduced service. The landing cable car is running a good service there as well. Then to the final segment of the travel update, that is the National Rail. On the National Rail this morning, Great Western Railway has a special service. Heathrow Express, minor delays. Northern Rail, minor delays. Southern and Transport for Wales has also got minor delays. Mascot Rail has got special service. That aside, all the others are running a very good service there. And I will say it as I will normally do. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today. But you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the roads.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Welcome back to the program Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to 10:51. And that takes me straight to the global trotting, all the story that is making the rounds this morning for you. Well, you know what? We started from Nigeria. Now, experts applaud the CBN over planned recapitalization of banks. No, in Ghana, they didn't recapitalize the banks. They rather shut the banks down. And now it's cost people their jobs. Okay, just bear with me. Good. Well, but some others, but in Nigeria, the CBN is doing recapitalization. I hope that it's going to be a fair thing to all the banks. I mean, if they are doing well, why not? But Kado also explains why CBN leadership has not held MPC meeting. I'll be telling you, I think Monetary Policy Council meeting. I will tell you more about that. Starr urges the World Bank to suspend loans to states. That's quite an interesting one. And Tinubu seeks German investment in critical sector premium. We know that Tinubu has been doing that. And service drive Nigeria jobless GDP growth in Q3, the third quarter of the year. CBN strayed from core mandates, pumped 10 trillion naira into sectors it had limited expertise. That's what Cardoso is saying. It's quite interesting. Is that what has caused Emefiele all his troubles? Nigeria Central Bank tightens policy to fight inflation, and the federal government to partner Microsoft on video games showcasing Nigerian culture, fashion. That's what the minister is saying. Black market dollar to naira exchange rate for November 20. I'm going to be giving you that. Oyedele expresses worry over yearly 6 trillion naira losses in tax waivers. Who are enjoying this tax waiver? That's the question. More going to be coming your way. Nigeria Airline makes history with delivery of new A220 aircraft and challenges AI. We're going to be telling you more about that, because I remember before the former president Buhari left, there was this inauguration of Nigerian Airlines, and then apparently it was all a sham. It wasn't the real one. It was Ethiopian Airlines that painted one of the planes like that, and they brought it. So this is a new Nigeria. Maybe they were trying to show them a picture. You know, when at times you tell people to create, have a creation of what is going to be in their heads, they are not able to actually paint it. So you need to paint an image and say that this is how your life is going to be, and then so they don't need any imagination. They just see that they say this is how my life is going to be. So maybe that's what the government at the time was doing for Nigeria. But what do you think about all that? Okay, now GTB, Zenith, UBA, others raises staff salaries to 29.4 trillion naira to cushion high inflation and recapitalization. Don't make the 2005 mistakes. Economists warn the CBN. And American investors companies eager to engage with Nigeria. That's quite an interesting one. How corruption works in Nigeria, institutional failures in a culture of corruption. Review by Abiodun Adeneye. I'm going to bring you more about that when we bring you all the details that you need to know when it comes to Nigeria this morning. Now, when it comes to some of the stories making around, Tamango, an artist on a top step homeward journey. If tap dance is still alive and kicking in the jazz world today, it's thanks to, in part, to one man, Tamango, this internationally renowned dancer, while he's doing his bit. But in Sierra Leone, president declares claim come after a day of clashes. We don't want things like that happening in Sierra Leone, Liberia. Remember, they getting into a civil war and all the lives that have been lost and stuff like that. But it looks like there's something that is happening, and I'm going to tell you more about all that. And Janta Ranchard opens campaign for key December referendum. Well, do you think he will want to leave or anything? But I'll be telling you more about that. In Senegal, rural women advocates for climate justice, and Sierra Leone declares nationwide curfew after that unrest that took place. And then Nobel winner Denis Mukwege launches electoral campaign. It's one of the stories. And in Madagascar, Rejalina re-election amid opposition. Of course, he was the one who ran for the elections, and therefore unanimously. So he was. I mean, okay, they said there were some other entities that were involved in it. But let's see how it all pans out. Listeners, this is Star Radio UK, and this is the Monday edition of the morning show. Moving on straight to some other stories making the rounds. Now, I'm going to tell you more about this as well. The world won't come to an end if Baumia's running mate is not from the Ashanti region. Okay, the MPP is all going on and on and on and on. Okay, Dams Village aged widows and others shower blessings on Seydou Agongo. Well, they are thanking him for whatever he's doing. Efrokrom Municipal supports 17 PWD's appeal for increase in 3% disability fund, and 4.6% of women victim of intimate partner violence. I mean, I know that is happening seriously in that part of the world, or in Africa it goes on, even in part of the world as well it goes on. Now, Nitiwo have refuted reports of sale of military lands to private developers. Well, if it's refuted it, we'll be telling you more about that. And soldiers allegedly brutalized 15-year-old orphan in Talensi. You look at the back of this orphan, boy, oh boy. I don't know what they might have hit him. I think this boy has to be taken to the hospital for a checkup. All right. Let's move on to some other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. In other parts of the world as well, more hostages to be set free as hopes grow for longer Gaza truce, and then more Palestinian teens freed in hostage deal. Then the UAE has planned to use climate talks to make oil deals. Of course, it is a business. I mean, you don't miss opportunity, do you? Ajanji Ajala, massive good morning to you, my brother. I hope you are doing very, very well. It says good morning, sir, and good morning to you. We thank God Nigeria hasn't happened to any of us, and we are still alive, well and kicking. Unfortunately, we will not have Mr. Olayomi Koiki coming on because, but if any one of you had the privilege of listening to Professor Banji Akintoye and what he said, you can post it on our platform, snip view of it or some of the statement that he made, and we'll be looking at that as well. But wherever you are, it is Starr ready, okay? But tomorrow, God willing, keeping fingers and everything crossed. Today, Yomi could have, but he's not sure because he's awaiting a phone call that will have to let him move on to a place, and that will be difficult for him to bring us that update. So God willing, tomorrow we'll be doing it. Rescuers explore a new way to reach trapped Indians. The workers have been stuck for 2 weeks after a part of a tunnel they were working in collapsed. Whoa. Okay. And shock as New Zealand axes welfare smoking ban. Health experts are appalled as the new government plans to repeal the policy to fund tax cuts. So smoke on, man, and die, man. But when people are now going to be suffering from smoke related diseases, then they will know that they've not made a good decision. But it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. UK braces for snow as cold weather takes a grip. Forecasters say there could be snow in the south of the UK later this week as temperatures drop. And which areas are that going to be? We'll tell you more about that. The Sunak agreed migrant deal, Braverman allies saying, but sources close to the Prime Minister dispute the documents the former Home Secretary refers to amounted to a deal. That woman, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I don't know what she's up to. I don't know what she's up to, but I'll be telling you more about all that in a moment. Okay, and then some other stories. Government confident leasehold bill will pass by election. The bill will make it easier and cheaper for homeowners to extend their lease or buy their freehold. And then in another story, tobacco firms call for tougher rules on vapes. So if I'm walking by and I see a teenager or a child now smoking or using the vape, can I go challenge him? Can I say, hey boy, what are you up to? You don't need to do that. In this kind of environment, you think I can do so? Wow. London Mayor Sadiq Khan gives evidence at COVID inquiry. And then those of you like watching I'm a Celebrity, Grace Dent has left I'm a Celebrity on medical grounds. You look at her face and you think that, oh boy, this lady is about to pop. But, well, she's left the camp. Okay? Now, Cameroon has been signing a word of warning to the Israel over 2 high casualties. And then Wallace says Russia lied to me before Ukrainian invasion. Well, this and a lot more going to be coming your way this morning from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. So don't you go away. Just stay with me and let us enjoy the rest of the show. But now let's take a music from this one covered version of Bob Marley's tune, and it says Loving Forever, Loving Jah, and it's a cover version by the Roots Revival. Enjoy it, and I will be with you.
We'll be forever loving Jah and forever.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Forever, yeah, we'll be forever loving Jah. We'll be forever, we'll be forever loving Jah. Sun and river, don't try for me. I've got the rolling stream of love, you see, and no matter what stages, oh stages, the Buddha through, you never do it. And no matter what rages, oh rages, changes, the Buddha through. We'll never be blue, we'll be forever, yeah. We'll be forever loving Jah. We'll be forever, we'll be forever loving Jah. Forever, yes, and forever, forever loving Jah. We'll be forever, we'll be forever loving Jah. Lean upon his own misunderstanding. Oh yeah. And what I thought is hidden from the rise and the prudence been revealed to the lab and the slacking.
This is Starr Radio UK.
I say we'll be forever loving Jah. Forever loving Jah. Oh no 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 no. We'll be forever loving Jah. We'll be forever.
This is Starr Radio. This is Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Planted rivers of water. We get from fruit. We get from fruit into season. Everything is like that is purpose. Find its reason in every season.
This is Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Forever loving Jah. We'll be forever. We'll be forever loving Jah. Oh no 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 no. We'll be forever loving Jah. We'll be forever. We'll be forever loving Jah. Someday say see them walking up.
This is Starr Radio UK.
They say what's going on to all the people we need, but we'll be forever loving Jah. We'll be forever. We'll be forever loving Jah. Forever, yes, and forever. Forever loving Jah. We'll be forever. We'll be forever loving Jah. Only a fool lean upon his own misunderstanding. Oh yeah. And what I thought is hidden from the rise and the prudence been revealed to the God that is slotted in every way, in every way. I say we'll be forever loving Jah. We'll be forever loving Jah. Oh no 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 no. We'll be forever loving Jah. We'll be forever. We'll be forever loving Jah. 'Cause just like a tree planted rivers of water, we get from fruit in due season. Everything is like that is purpose, find its reason in every season. Forever, yeah, we'll be forever loving Jah. We'll be forever.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Forever loving Jah. Oh no 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 no. We'll be forever loving Jah. We'll be forever. We'll be forever loving.
Well, we live forever loving. We live forever loving Jah by the Roots Revival Group. Talking about you can be like a tree that is planted by the rivers of water that bears its fruit in its season. That's from Psalm 1. Yes, and it's quite an interesting one there. Yeah, so this morning we live forever. We want to thank God for the opportunity to live life. And I say it all the time. You want to live it to the fullest. No regrets. I mean, even the bad things all work together for good. But that doesn't mean that you should go perpetrate evil unto others. But if any evil or something, a mishap happens to you, know that God can still use that to turn your life around. So, yes, a bit of preaching there for you. And let me hear a big amen. Amen. All right, then. Now let's move on to some of the stories making the rounds this morning from Nigeria, with the updates from Nigeria. Tomorrow, God willing, we'll have Mr. Olayomi Koiki, who will be taking us through what Professor Banja Kinchoye did make over Friday, and subsequent reactions from that. I wouldn't want to take that out of his sales. So tomorrow, God willing, he'll be coming your way. We'll be looking at that. But this morning, information that has come through can also explain why the CBN leadership has not held the MPC meeting. Why haven't they held the MPC meeting? Because more to do with the CBN today. Now, the Monetary Policy Committee meeting of the Nation Apex Bank have been largely unsuccessful, according to the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Olayomi. So it's not Mr. Olayomi Koiki. Mr. Olayomi Koiki is here. Okay. Now, he made a statement while delivering his keynote address at the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria annual dinner, which was held in Lagos last Friday. According to Cardoso, the MPC ought to convene 4 times a year, as it has done so already this year in accordance with the constitutional rules. Nakadoso said, "This is what I, together with my team at the Central Bank, have been focused on doing in the past 2 months. We have critically reviewed the effectiveness of the Central Bank's monetary policy tools and have spent time fixing the transmission mechanism to ensure the decision of MPC meetings actually results in desired objectives." For quite some time, there has been a dislocation of our monetary transmission mechanism, rendering the MPC meeting largely ineffective. So he thinks that because of that, there's not been the need for the MPC to actually do what? Meet. However, the Nigerian Central Bank under new governor Olayomi Cardoso is tightening the monetary policy to combat high inflation, which reached 27.33%. The Central Bank of Nigeria is ending unorthodox policies and focusing on explicit inflation targeting. Nigeria's economy, currently $240 billion, is projected to grow to $1 trillion in 7 years, requiring banks to increase capital. Now, amid soaring inflation rates, Nigeria's central bank is taking bold steps steps under the leadership of its new governor, Olayomi Cardoso. Nigeria facing an economic crossroads will witness tightened monetary policies over the coming quarter, he said. Now, he went on further to say, this strategic pivot aims not just to combat the rampant inflation, which recently hit a staggering 27.33%, a peak not seen in nearly 2 decades, but also to bolster the economy's overall health. Now, Cardoso, steering the ship since September, is dealing with a complex financial landscape. The Central Bank of Nigeria is distancing itself from previous unorthodox policies which have blurred fiscal and monetary lines. This shift includes halting direct fiscal intervention, a significant move to recalibrate the central bank's role in managing inflation. Nigeria's economy, valued at $240 billion, where they think it's going to grow to what, $1 trillion come in the next 7 years, which is a good projection. But how they prepared for it is the stories making the rounds this morning. However, going on with the view of recapitalizing or financing banks, so there have been some criticism from some quarters. Now, with plans by the Central Bank of Nigeria to introduce a new capital base for the deposit money banks in Nigeria, economists have cautioned the Apex Bank from making some mistakes made during the last recapitalization of commercial banks in the country. The founder of the Center for Promotion of Private Enterprise, Muda Yusuf, and Professor Shegun Jibola of the Babcock University, Ogun State, both spoke on Channel's television program. The economists agreed that recapitalization of bank has become inevitable, but it must be done in such a way that the mergers and acquisitions that will hit banks won't lead to massive job cuts. Now, what we had in 2005 was very unfortunate. Banks should not be stampeded, Yusuf said, urging the central bank to give banks enough time for systemic migration. He suggested a year or two of the process and not for the Apex Bank to insist on a short deadline like what was done during the era of ex-president Olusegun Obasanjo. On its part, Ajibola called for a strategic consultation between stakeholders for the process to be fluid and successful, saying the central bank should not focus or force banks into unholy alliances. Now, last Friday, the CBN chief Yemi Cardoso said Nigerian banks do not have sufficient capital relative to the finance system needs in servicing a 1 trillion economy. As a first step, the central bank will be directing banks to increase their capital. He announced at the 60th anniversary of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria in Lagos State. Now, the last time the CBN increased capital base for banks was in 2005 when current Anambra State Governor Charles Solodu was the Apex Bank chief. The capital base was raised from 2 billion naira to 25 billion naira, with more than 80 banks collapsing into about 30 in an unprecedented season of mergers and acquisitions that came after attendant job losses. Well, maybe it's going to be like the Ghana one. It might be like the Ghana one, where the mergers and everything that happened ended up causing some banks losing out, and now we have less banks there. But it is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, and it is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, one other story that is making the round this morning, and that pertains to taxes. The chairman of the Presidential Committee of Tax and Fiscal Policy Reform, Taiwo Oyedele, said on Friday that he is worried about Nigeria losing the sum of 6 trillion a year in tax waivers. Oyedele raised these concerns at 6 trillion naira. Concerns in an interview on same on Channel's broadcast as well, as he spoke about the implication of Nigeria losing the same 6 trillion it generates in revenue on an annual basis. Now, while also addressing the issue of tax waivers, he said that the government at all levels have failed to measure their impact on the economy of the country. Yes, as a matter of fact, we are giving away about 6 trillion annually, the financial expert said in his confirmation of the figure, which the Senate recently quoted as tax waivers. On the economic viability of the enormous tax waivers, the country has so far failed to measure their impact on the economy. This is really the part that makes it painful, because it will then appear like you just wasted the money you didn't even have in the first place. And those numbers, okay, just bear with me, because I think I've, okay, on the economy viability, that okay, where is it? I missed it out. And those numbers are huge compared to our revenue base. If we were a country where we're making 60 to 70 trillion and we give away 6 trillion, maybe we will say we can live with it. But the revenue generated by the FIRS in 2021, the year before the last year, was just barely 6 trillion. And then you give that away in tax waivers and incentives. Now, the question is, who are getting these tax waivers? And how is it impacting the economy? Is there some big hooks with the agbala, and then yeah, okay, yes, that car that I brought, yeah, you'll get a tax waiver on it. So that car is for personal, let me put it this way, gratification, not for anything that will help the general public. Or maybe I decide to go get a jet and I use that, so I get a tax waiver. Meanwhile, the jet that I'm getting is not going to be helping the job that I'm doing. It's for my own personal comfort. But somebody said that, well, if somebody is injecting so much in the economy and paying huge taxes, then a waiver like that will help the person. But what do you think about that? 6 trillion naira as a waiver. And he is saying that, look, just last year, on the year before, that is 2021, all the tax that was collected was 6 trillion. But now we seem to be giving a waiver of 6 trillion out. So that's why I do say all the time that we live as if we are let me put it this way, very rich, and we don't have no problems, and therefore we just live our lives that way. But let me know what you think about it. Anthony Adeji, massive good morning to you, and thanks for listening in, and lots of love and prayers to you as well. Okay, thank you very, very much, and to every one of you who have joined in. My apologies, as I just say, Yomi couldn't make it because of a pressing family issue that he needed to see to. Well, now corruption. And someone is telling us how it works in Nigeria. Institutional failures in the culture of corruption. Has that amounted to what is causing these huge tax waivers? And who are benefiting from it? Those who can pay the taxes? Or that poor woman selling akala or gari in the market for that poor person who is coming to buy that? Okay, let's move on. Now, Corruption seemed intertwined with the evolution of Nigeria as a nation state. It has been a malice, a big elephant in the room, regularly talked about, loathed through synchronic rhetoric, but growing in systematic proportion. Now, with little or no hope of redemption, the discourse of corruption looks, therefore, like an exposition of the nation's attempt at social, economic, and political development. Now, from the descriptive 10% of the 1960s, it has gestated to greater fractions, sometimes 100%, with gusto, extraordinary impunity, and bravado. Now, after the fashion of persons plundering a captured territory, the looting of the public patrimony had been differently described as prebendal, predatory, rapacious, locust-like, or mindless. However, we are still challenged to continually examine its context. Now, which is patently multi-dimensional, octopodal, and cyclical, if to sustain an attempt to reminding the populace that the practice, deep-seated as it may appear, cultured or uncultured, or cultured or acculturated as it seems, it is still an anomaly. It is in the light, it's in this light that one can situate the work of Professor Ademola Adebo on how corruption works in Nigeria, institutional failures in the culture of corruption from start to finish. He's written a 532-page work that bears the character of a magnum opus, far from a parvum opus, following from the recess of long-established scholar, a researcher, administrator, university lecturer, public intellectual, and corruption scholar. Professor Adebo, my apologies there. Okay. Now, Professor Adebo deployed the curious skills of a practiced researcher from the prism of an agitated change agent, largely working from the case of the Code of Conduct Bureau to extrapolate a national, even global cancer without losing focus of the meaning or unmeaning the problem represents for a nation in quest of development. He deployed the case to examine a retrogressive social fabric seemingly untamed despite a consciousness of it. Now, several campaigns, workshops, summits, stakeholder engagement, and numerous jamborees. Now, it goes on further to say, in a 12th chapter, nearly 100 sections on appendix and a glossary, Professor Adebo dissected the essence of corruption from the stage of its psychological construction to its hydra-headed practice, helping the location of its past, present dimension, and fascinating and providing a gaze into its future. The work is at once exhaustive, penetrating, insightful, and fascinating, and leaves hardly any further questions unanswered unless they relate to the predictable evolution of new shades of corruption, a sure thing, likely a state where an abnormality has been normalized, evening up to a perverse culture. Now, two forwards to the book by erudite Professor Wale Ore Olaiten and Victor Adetola delivered a helicopter overview of what is in Adebo's pudding. Now, they situated the literature in neo-patrimony, the term amongst many others as clientelism and patronage system, patrimonialism, rent-seeking, principal agency, state capture, political culture, and ruling coalition featured prominently in the work. Now, new patrimony is in evidence further from Max Weber's simply patrimony as an ultra state of municipal hijack, where office holders share fortune simply based on nepotism, favoritism, ethnicism, religion, connectionism, and such other rebellious reasons, far from merit laid down procedures and against the interests of the populace. That is, distribution mentality becomes established, insidious, and continues to extend to the extent that the state becomes blinded to it, now turning to salute it as a fad, a right opportunity to desire, culminating into stunt development and the reversal of the concentric circle of leadership, where the leader privileges the interests of friends and associates first before the interests of community, the ideal purpose of leadership. Now, if I want to go on, it's quite okay. Let me just bring you this final bit there. But Professor Olayomi and Adentola were united in describing the book as a groundbreaking, not just for the decade-long effort invested in it, but for copious references to theories, pre-existing thoughts on corruption, the conflating and conflicting definition of the subject, and the avalanche of evidence available to back up claims. In recommending the book somewhat as a classic, the scholar highlighted its value in society's pursuit of transparency, accountability, and openness in the public expenditure process. The preface, acknowledgement, and introduction by the author are a handful. Therein, the reader is invited into the initial experience of the author of the CCB, the influential and instructive works of great reasons like Francis Fukuyama, Andre Gonda Frank, Emmanuel Wallenstein, Samir Amin, Walter Rodney, Claude Ake, Franz Fanon, among others, and how they impacted on seminal work. Now, finally, it is also within the brackets, specifically in the introduction, that the author revealed his metaphorical construction of some computing terms to pinpoint the context of corruption practice. How? He described an internal ring of corrupt officials and their practices as the local area network of corruption, LANOC, while viewing their external variant with whom LANOC are in cahoots as the wide area network of corruption. That brings you to more of IT and how it works, right? Or computing. The two networks share the corruption philosophy from the case of the CCB and limit favor and opportunities to cronies, further to new patrimony. The two are related to the negotiations of deals, the monopoly of power, the continuation of the patron-client system, and the perpetuation of meritocracy plus more. And that seems to be what is happening there. But I'm going to bring you one other story from Niger, and then we can move on from there. It's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station and this is coming from Nigeria, but it is from updates from Nigeria. Okay, now I hope that this has not got any underhand dealings or nepotism or anything that this wonderful writer has swayed across. But Air Peace has reacted as Nigeria Airline makes history with delivery of a new A220 aircraft. Now, Ibom Air, one of the newest airlines in Nigeria, has taken the delivery of a brand new Airbus A220 aircraft. The aircraft is among the 10 ordered by the administration of former Governor Emmanuel Udom. The former governor was among the delegation which received the new airline in Montreal, Canada on Friday. Okay, so it will be flying into the country pretty soon. During the weekend, the erstwhile governor of the Akwa Ibom state, Odum, delivered the first of the 10 brand new Airbus A22-300 series aircraft ordered during his tenure in 2021. Emmanuel administration established Ibom Air in 2019. He later led a delegation from the airline to Dubai Air Show, where he agreed with the Airbus to procure 10 new A220-300 series aircraft. Now, Ibom Air to receive 9 Airbus worth $902 million. Well, was surprised to be serving the state, Nigeria as a whole. Why not? The ex-governor also was among the top dignitaries who inspected and took delivery of the aircraft in Montreal last Friday. According to a report, the airline signed an agreement for 10 new aircraft valued at $902 million in November 2021. Bernard Schulz, Airbus Chief Executive Officer, and Vice President Daniel Weniger, Head of Airbus A20 Delivery Center, Mark Appin, and Cyril Picard, Sales Director and top management of Ibom Air, were in the ground during the aircraft presentation. Well, interesting one there. Kudos to them. But listen, this is why I bring the updates from Nigeria to a close. God willing, tomorrow we're going to be bringing you some more updates from Nigeria. So don't even think of touching the dial. It is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. My producer has highlighted one other story that he says there was a need for me to look at, and this pertains to the exchange rates. Woo! In the clandestine realm, the black market, where currencies dance to a different tune, the dollar to naira exchange rates on November 20 revealed a fascinating story. These rates, though not officially recognized by the Central Bank of Nigeria, constitute to be a point of interest for many, shaping the financial landscape in unexpected ways. Diving into the world of the parallel markets, where secrecy meets commerce, the exchange rate for a dollar to naira emerged at an intriguing 1,130 naira for buying and 1,135 for selling on Monday, November 20. The clandestine nature of this market adds an air of mystery to the financial dealings, inviting individuals to explore beyond the conventional. Now, beyond the numbers, these black market rates signify more than a simply exchange of currency. Delve into the depths of economic implications, understanding how these rates influence trade, investment, and other overall financial health of the nation. Unravel the hidden messages the market is sending to astute observers. Well, what do you think about all that if you are listening to us this morning from Nigeria? This is Starr Radio UK, and this is the morning show. And okay. Now, Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project, Sarah, has urged World Bank President Ajay Banga to promptly, transparently, and effectively conduct an investigation into spending of loans and other facilities by Nigeria's 36 states governors. Now, besides asking the global lender to suspend federal loans to unsatisfactory states, the group, in a letter at the weekend signed by Deputy Director Kalowale Oluwadare, said the global lender and partners should be firm with global practices. So this were, the first part of the updates to a close here, and we're going to take a commercial and a music break.
Starr Radio UK,
and I will come back to you. So stay tuned. Don't you go away.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business. The show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Star Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Tune in to On Point here on Star Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Level. Everybody go. we say, hey!
Thine is the kingdom and power, the glory forever and ever. Unto you I sing hallelujah, amen. Thine is the kingdom and power, the glory forever and ever. Unto you I sing hallelujah, amen.
One more time and say,
thine is the kingdom and power, the glory forever and ever. Unto you I sing hallelujah, amen.
Everybody,
thine is the kingdom and power, the glory forever and ever. Unto you I sing hallelujah, amen.
glory be to the Lord in the highest. Come on, everybody. One more time, sir. And say,
Okay, yeah, listeners, Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. And let me say hello to my producer himself, Mr. Francis Guy. We're just sharing some joke in the background. Somebody says that, you know what? Come to think of it, if just eating some apple that by Adam and Eve has caused us this pain. Now, what if they ate pepper? Then I think I think by this time our heads will be off. But wherever you are, it is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. So don't touch the dial, don't touch the dial. Enjoy this rest of this music, and I'll be back to bring you all that you need to know from other parts of Africa as well. Stay tuned.
sing hallelujah. And tell me so. Everybody. Everybody go.
Lord, we lift our hands in worship as we bless your holy
You deserve it. You deserve it.
This is Starr Radio. This is Starr Radio UK.
Lord, we lift our hands in worship.
Are you ready to know?
As we bless your holy name. You are great. You do miracles so great. There's no one else like you.
Nobody.
There is no one else
You are
like
crazy, so Lord.
you. You are great. You do miracles so great.
Nobody.
There is no one else like you.
There is no one.
There is no
Okay, there is no one like our God there. From the maximum Afro praise medley there, but don't you worry. Music, you're going to be having lots of it during the course of the program. But wherever you are, it is Star Radio UK. Now let's move on straight to some other stories making the rounds in other parts of Africa. Okay, let's move on there. So, what's up, Africa? Yes, Sierra Leone, night curfew imposed following attack. There was an attack on Sierra Leone. I'm going to be bringing you more about that. Now, Sierra Leone has lifted a curfew imposed on Sunday following an attack by armed men on a military barracks and prisons in the capital, Freetown. A night curfew will begin daily from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. local time until further notice, authorities have said. Now, that pertains to President Julius Maada Bio addressed the nation on Sunday night, calling on the country's political and traditional leaders and civil society to work to preserve peace. He said that most of the leaders behind the unrest had been arrested and added that the calm has been restored. Now, Sierra Leone has been on edge since Bio was re-elected in June this year in a vote rejected by the main opposition candidate and questioned by international partners. Now, Sunday's attack has deepened tensions in West and Central African and made a surge of coups in the region in recent years. The Economic Community of West African States condemned what it called an attempt to certain individuals to disturb constitutional order in the country. Now they come out to say all those things, but if you read this or you listen to this story that I read pertaining to what is happening about corruption in Nigeria, where this learned man has gone to write in-depth stories about it, you ask yourself the question, if our leaders are entrenching themselves in positions and engaging in such evil, let me put it that way bluntly, then what is the way forward? So people will rig elections or manipulate everything, and the institutions and everything there will also now try to sing the voices of their master. And when it is black, somebody say this is white, or maybe this is green, knowing that it is pure black. So when that is done, and you have some people thinking, no, we're not going to be sitting down for another lesson. By the time you would have ruined the whole economy, and then they decide to rise up, then we complain about it. But well, they'll tell you that constitutional rule is better than having a military rule and all that, because it disturbs but if it's disturbing, what are they doing? You know, interestingly, we are the ones who when it comes to Africans, oh boy, we love church, we love God so much. We'll go and be praying, everything, and my finances and my ill health. And meanwhile, somebody has been giving the money to put up a structure or a building or a hospital or a road or something that will be used to protect you. So if the roads are well constructed, signage and everything, somebody's driving there, they know that this is the street that they have to drive. The police are doing their work very well. Do you think somebody will be involved in carelessly some accidents or things like that will happen? Yes, it will, but it will be minimal. However, we don't get that. And we have leaders there who are entrenched in it, manipulating the whole thing. So when it happens that now they decide, some people say, we cannot sit down for another 10 years, whether 4 years or 5 years or 7 years, whatever they normally embark on. So we will rise up and defend the nation. And they will say, you know what? It's a foiled one, especially when it's a foiled one, then they are going to be in trouble. But well, if you want to undergo something, you need to be fighting seriously, right? Somebody say right. Okay. Listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. Now, still in the West African area, Chad has begun campaigning on Saturday for a vote on a new constitution in a perceived test of legitimacy for the ruling junta and Itno dynasty for 30 years in the 30 years reign. I've been there. My father has been there. Now I've taken over. You think I'll do anything to leave power? No way. They're going to make sure that they do everything possible to maintain their grip. That's so sad. But Chad began a campaign last Saturday for a vote in a new constitution in a perceived test of legitimacy for the ruling junta and the Itno dynasty 30 years reign. The transitional President General Mahamat Idris Deby Itno, whose junta has governed since 2021, had promised to hand power to civilians and hold elections this year before postponing them to 2024. Now, more than 8.3 million people in the vast but poor Sahel country are called on to vote in a referendum slated for December 17 in a key step towards the elections and establishing civilian rule. The opposition NGOs and political scientists say the ballot looks set to be about maintaining Itno and his family's dynasty. After the 3 decades of absolute power enjoyed by his father Idris Deby Itno, at the conference to launch the pro-junta Yes Coalition campaign on Saturday, its chairman, the Prime Minister Saleh
Kebzazo encourage supporters to propagate the values of high decentralized unitary states. The supporters of a federal state are urging voters to reject this text by voting no. Beyond that, or what from the form the state takes, the main issue is to allow power to test its popularity and its legitimacy, which will be determined by the turnout rate. It's a job, Professor of Law at the University of Jamina said. The form of the state is not the priority, added Enoch Jongdang, former chairman of the Chadian League for Human Rights. The new proposed constitution is not greatly different from the previous one, which concentrated significantly powers in the hands of the head of state. The pro-juncture said yes, CAM supports a unitary state, while opponents back a federal model. Well. Listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. Okay. Let me bring you this one, and then we'll move on to Ghana as well. Madagascar, Rajoelina's re-election made boycott and skepticism. He has been re-elected. So it says Madagascar's president Andry Rajoelina secured a re-election in the initial round of contested ballots marked by opposition boycott, as confirmed by Election Commission on Saturday. An opposition candidate has appealed to the High Constitutional Court to demand the annulment of the ballot. The public opinion is divided, with some happy with the re-election and others less inclined to believe that this election will in any way better their status quo. As a citizen, we already knew that Andry Rajoelina was going to be re-elected. So life goes on for us. Nothing changes. Whoever is re-elected, our lives will be the same. We'll stay among the beggars, decried Vorina Ravorizoa, a homeless woman. And that has been the testimony or the story of most people in Africa, where leaders come and they are where they are, or their situation become worse off than what they've seen. My listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. A former commissioner of Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Colonel Kwejo Damoa, and a deputy commissioner of the division, Joseph Edu Che, have secured a restraining order against the Office of the Special Prosecutor from further investigating them. Why? This was after the court granted a request from the duo in the nature of a certiorari and prohibition against the OSP over the La Bianca report. On August 8, 2022, the OSP published an investigative report which revealed that La Bianca Group of Companies, a frozen foods company owned by a member of the Council of State, Eunice Jacqueline Boa Asamoah Hene, evaded import duties in excess of 1.07 million Ghana cedis. The OSP contended that Mr. Asamoah Hene, Miss Asoma Hene, used her position as a member of the Council of State and a member of the Board of Directors of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority to get a favorable decision from the Customs Division. Now, this report implicated Colonel Damoa, who was indicted in corruption-related acts involving La Bianca, as well as a deputy commissioner of customs. Dissatisfied with the report of the OSP, the two filed a writ at the High Court, seeking the court to dismiss the investigative report by the special prosecutor into the activities of La Bianca Company Limited, a frozen foods company. The applicant also sought a restraining order against OSP from further publication and investigations. Now, ruling on the matter, Today, Justice William Bwampong, the presiding judge, said the OSP acted without mandate by purporting to make adverse finding against Colonel Damwa and Joseph Eduche when it published the same report in public domain. The court also ruled that the OSP assumed the position of competent jurisdiction or a committee of inquiry by making adverse findings against the applicants. Now, Justice William Bwampong consequently granted the request for certiorari and further restrained the OSP from further investigating the applicant. It will be recalled that when the LaBianca report was released, Canada Moi accused the OSP of targeting his person in an attempt to bring him down. In his view, the report is hollow and actuated by malice. The OSP called for a wider investigation into the customs division of the GRA and demanded for a copy of integrity plans to prevent corruption. The former commissioner and the deputy commissioner then filed the suit at the High Court after Colonel Damwa was indicted in corruption-related acts involving LaBianca. A Council of State member, Eunice Jacqueline Boa Asoma Hene, who owns LaBianca Company and is a member of the board of directors of the Ghana Ports and Harbors Authority, was accused of using her position to get a favorable decision from the customs division of the GRA, leading to a reduction in the company's tax liability. The deputy commissioner of customs in charge of operations, Joseph Eduche, was cited for issuing unlawful customs advance rulings to LaBianca per the OSP reports. So now this stance or this move by the courts, what confidence that it gives to the public that government is doing everything possible to fight corruption. Listeners, this is Starr Radio UK and this is the morning show. It's now gone a minute after 12. We're going to be taking a break soon, but let me bring you another story and then we move on from there. The Minister of Defense, Dominic Nituwu, that is in Ghana, has refused reports that some lands belonging to the military have been sold to private developers. Now, media reports arrived that some military lands around Cheado in Accra have been sold, leading to eviction of some soldiers. By taking his turn at the 2024 budget debate in Parliament, Mr. Nituwu explained the only development going on are partnerships signed on to before the Nanado administration came to office. Now, the Bimbila MP further revealed he had rather fought for a 26-acre parcel of military land sold, which he retrieved when he assumed office. This government under my reign has never, and I say never, sold any military land to anybody. In fact, there is a developer on a project for the armed forces. I originally cancelled it because the project was signed on the 26th of December 2016. I originally wanted to cancel it, but after weighing it in the space of 3 years, and in 2019, on the advantages and disadvantages, I thought that it should go ahead, the minister narrated. According to him, the reason he placed some projects on hold is because there was a directive not to sign new contract, because the project was signed on the 26th of December within the transition. That is why I put it on hold. So if anybody says this government has signed anything new, it is wrong. It is not us, Mr. Nituwu says. So virtually pointing finger at the former government, that's the NDC government. But listeners, this is Starr Radio UK and this is your Monday edition of the morning show. One other story: the majority leader in Parliament, because we have got the MPP flag bearership race all done, and now we're looking at who is going to be the running mate of the vice president, who is now the flag bearer. But the majority leader in Parliament, Osai Chairman Sabonsu, has emphasized that selecting a running mate for the new patriotic party's flag bearer Mahmoud Baumia from the Ashanti region is not a mandatory criterion. According to him, there are other Akan-speaking regions in the country that can be considered for the position. Chairman Sabonsu, who hails from the Ashanti region, expressed the opinion that the party will not suffer any adverse consequences if the running mate were chosen from an Akan area outside the Ashanti region. In an interview on some radio station addressing the potential implication of selecting a running mate from regions other than the Ashanti, the Swami Member of Parliament, however, acknowledged the importance of strategic considerations. He suggested that the choice should complement Dr. Bawumia's background, and if it's not necessarily from the Ashanti region. Chairman Sabonsu highlighted that there are various Akan areas that could be explored for the selection. We know the dynamics, so let the people decide. I am from the Ashanti region. It is the case that Dr. Bawumia is from the north, and maybe his own ethnic group, a background, is not one place that we have major votes from or huge numbers from. We will need maybe a region that will support or complement him well. And that is why people are coming up with the suggestions to select an Akan. All right then, listeners. This is Starr Radio UK. 5 minutes past the top of the hour. We're going to take a break. And once we come back, I'm going to bring you everything I need to know.
This is Starr Radio UK.
From other parts of the world as well. So stay tuned. Don't touch the dial.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medase.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business. The show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Prom, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodoma, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Prum Prum Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Welcome back to the program. It's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Bringing the time now to exactement 9 minutes past the top of the hour. Okay. Let's move on to some of the other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. Okay. Now moving on straight to some other stories making the rounds this morning. Wherever you are, continue to stay or keep your dials to London Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. So, in other parts of the world, well, we'll come to that. Later part of this week, I think those of us in the UK have to brace ourselves, because for those of us in the south, later this week, the forecasters say the grip could be snow in the south of the UK. So the cold snap is coming in, and you know what that brings about? Energy usage. But well, in other stories making the round this morning, let's first of all capture it this way. Now, UAE is planning to use the climate talks to make oil deals. Now, of course, why not? You hear the iron whilst it's hot? The United Arab Emirates plan to use its role as the host of the UN climate talks as an opportunity to strike oil and gas deals. Now, leaked briefing documents reveals plans to discuss fossil fuel deal with 15 nations. The UN body responsible for the COP28 summit hosts were expected to act without bias or self-interest. The UAE team did not deny using COP28 meeting for business talks and said private meetings are private. It declined to comment on what was discussed in the meeting and said its work has been focused on meaningful climate actions. The documents obtained by the independent journalists at the Center for Climate Reporting working alongside the BBC were prepared by the UAE's COP28 team for meeting with at least 27 foreign governments ahead of the COP28 summit, which starts on November 30. That's in the next 3 days. They include proposed talking points such as one for China, which says ADNOC, the UAE state oil company, is willing to jointly evaluate international liquefied natural gas opportunities in Mozambique, Canada, and Australia. The document suggests telling a Colombian minister that the ADNOC stands ready to support Colombia to develop its fossil fuel resources. They are talking points for 13 other countries, including Germany and Egypt, which suggests telling them ADNOC wants to work with their government to develop fossil fuel projects. So, you're angry about it. Well, good luck to them. The briefing shows the UAE also prepared talking points on commercial opportunities for its state's renewable energy company, Mazda, ahead of the meetings with 20 countries, including the UK, United States, France, Germany, the Netherlands, Brazil, China, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Kenya. Now, what a best time to do that, because do you want people to fly out? Okay, let's say they're using state flights. Okay, they flew from the UK and other parts of the world to that part of the world for the conference. Then after that, they'll fly back, and then now for the COP28. Then after that, they fly and we'll get some delegation and fly them back to that country again to go and negotiate that. So killing two birds with a stone. What is wrong with that? Well. If other countries didn't think that way when they were having COP20 whatever, and now they think that we can kill two birds or even three birds with one stone. Why not? Okay. Well. This is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 40 minutes past 12. The time got about another 60 minutes to bring the program to a close. So we move on straight to some other stories making the round. 6 French teenagers on trial over teacher's murder. 6 French teenagers accused of complicity in the murder of a teacher will go on trial today. The children were aged between 13 and 15 at the time of the killing of Samuel Paty in 2020 at the hand of a Chechen refugee. The suspects are accused of slander and pointing out the teacher to the killer at the school. They face a maximum of 2.5 years in prison. Mr. Paty was stabbed and beheaded on the 16th of October 2020 after reportedly showing students cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad during a class on freedom of expression. The youngest suspect was 13 years old at the time of the killing. She was suspended from school 9 days before Mr. Paty's murder for reasons unrelated to the case. She is allegedly to have untruthfully told her father that she had been disciplined for having confronted Mr. Paty over an alleged request for Muslim students to leave the class. Now, she had in fact been absent from the class in question. Nonetheless, her father posted videos on social media calling for Mr. Paty to be fired. Now, prosecutors believe these videos prompted 18-year-old Chechen Abdullah Anzorov to travel around 80 kilometers from Normandy to Kaufland's Saint-Honorin near Paris to commit the murder. The other 5 suspects in the case are alleged to have helped Anzorov identify Mr. Paty at the school in exchange for €300 payment. One said Anzorov told him that he wanted to film Mr. Paty apologizing for showing caricatures of their Prophet Muhammad. Now, a second trial will open next year for 8 adults also accused of complicity in the murder. These include Brahim Nina, the father of the 13-year-old girl on trial. Prosecutors have accused 2 friends of Aznarov of complicity in a terrorist murder, the most serious crime of the case. One man is accused of accompanying Aznarov to buy weapons, the other driving him to the school where Mr. Paty taught on the day of the murder. A sad story there. I remember it as if it was yesterday. Well, the snow had hit the ground, and in Ukraine, where we know we have snow, or that part of the world, Russia, Ukraine, more than 2,000 towns and villages are now without electricity and many roads are closed. That's what the stories are saying, because of heavy snow there. Now, snowstorms and strong winds have left more than 2,000 towns and villages without power across many regions of Ukraine. Local officials have said. They say 48 people, including children, have been evacuated from trapped vehicles in the worst affected Odessa region in the southwest. At least 6 people have suffered from hypothermia. Traffic is currently blocked on 14 motorways. The storm is also battering Moldova, Russia, Georgia, and Bulgaria. In a statement on Monday morning, Ukraine's emergency services said the bad weather left 2,019 settlements without power in 16 regions of the country. It said 840 vehicles had to be towed away amid snow drifts reaching more than 2 meters, that is 6 feet in some places. At least 1,370 cargo lorries are currently stuck as well. The southern Miyakoliv region is also badly hit, and there are lots of knife-jagged lorries on their sides, and a lot there. You know, and after that, you know what happens? That melts and turns into wow. But listeners, it's Starr Radio UK. This is not a laughing matter. But this is some of what has happened there. Now, more hostages has to be freed as hopes grow for a longer Gaza truce. Israel and Hamas are said to be open to a longer pause in fighting as more hostages and prisoners are due for a release. Now, 4-year-old girl among released Israeli hostages of girl Eden. I remember his dad coming on that for an interview several times, but who turned 4 while she had held hostage. She was held hostage by Hamas, was among 9 children released. There are some of the stories making the rounds this morning. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's come to the UK front and let's bring you what is happening. Now, I was kept in the dark over seriousness of COVID. London Mayor says Sadiq recalls feeling winded as he was told of rising hospital cases in an emergency meeting in March 2020. Well. Kudos. Okay, that is for the COVID hearing that is going on. And then Rishi Sunak agreed migrant deals. Well, a Braverman allies is saying, but Prime Minister Rishi Sunak promised to toughen up migration rules under a Tory leadership contest deal with Suella Braverman, the former Home Secretary. Allies say. The Telegraph newspaper says it has seen a copy of a plan Mrs. Sunak agreed with Mrs. Braverman last year. Okay. The documents include a pledge to increase the salary migrants will have to earn to enter the UK. Mrs. Sunak's allies dispute the idea he struck. Okay, the idea he struck, and just bear with me. Sources close to the Prime Minister insist that there was a more general policy discussion about legal and illegal migration, and rather than an agreement on specific policy proposals. She's in there with a dagger just to nab him up, right? Somebody say right. Okay, and avoid puddles. The AA is giving advice to dodge potholes, and that is dangerous, you know. I remember one time I fell into a pothole somewhere south here, and that was a strong, a deep one, I know. But well, AA is advising drivers to avoid puddles, but if you try to avoid them, at times you end up running into the oncoming traffic, which can cause you trouble there as well. AA is advising drivers to avoid puddles after a record month of breakdowns caused by potholes. The motoring group has had over 500,000 calls out of for the year so far. Daily average of more than 1,500. Now, continuous poor weather and recent storms such as Babet, Ciarán and Debbie have contributed to poor road surfaces. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak pledged more than £8 billion in funding last month to tackle what he called the scourge of potholes. The RAC analysis of garage repair data estimates that drivers are paying an average of 440 if their car needs fixing after hitting a pothole, and damage more serious than a puncture. Well, it is Starr Radio UK. Getting to the tail end of the program. The final story. Parts of the UK are bracing for snow and wintry showers this week as the cold spell continues. Temperatures dropped below freezing for much of the country over the weekend, with lows of -8 forecast for Tuesday. The coldest recorded temperature so far this autumn was -7.7 in Sharp, Cumbria, on Saturday morning. Now, weather says snowfalls are possible, but there is a lot more uncertainty than normal in forecast. Tuesday's night will bring frost to much of the country, with temperatures around -2 to -5 and possibly as low as -8 across part of the north of England and rural Scotland, the Met Office has said. My brother Felix, I know he will tell you that this is what we live in, and therefore we are always braced for it. Higher ground in Scotland and northern England saw snowfall last week, which is typical for late November. The Met Office spokesman Ole Claydon said snow showers are expected on the North Sea coast, including Scotland and the north of England from Wednesday. He added that we are not likely to see significant accumulation on the ground. Snow may also fall in parts of the southeastern England, including Hampshire. The cloudy and damp start to the week will give way to sunnier spells below or before turning unsettled later in the week. Forecasters have said as well. So, well, we know we are in that season, so you just have to prepare yourself for any adverse weather conditions. Get yourself heavy coats and your jumpers. So that is what we will say. Okay, if you're a stranger in this land, then by this time you don't know what to do. But well, it is time to brace yourself. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay, let's take one more story and then we go away from there. And this time round pertains to what? Gov confident leasehold reforms. Now, Housing Secretary Michael Gove has said he's confident the bill reforming the leasehold system in England and Wales will pass by the next general election. The bill, which will ban leaseholds for new houses but not flats, is due to be introduced in Parliament later. It will also make it easier and cheaper for homeowners to extend their lease or buy their freehold. Under the current system, leaseholders often have to pay ground rent and expensive maintenance charges. This is because they only own the lease, which gives them the right to use the property but not the land it is built on. Mr. Gove said the long-promised legislation will mean household leaseholders can take back control of their property and ensure service charges and ground rents are transparent and reasonable. So those of us who have properties which have got leaseholds and all that stuff, I bet we'll be celebrating, won't we? But listen, this is where we bring the program to a close for today. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
This is Starr Radio UK.
And I'm going to bring you Career 101 with HRH Linda Pallien. So wherever you are, just stay tuned. Enjoy this music whilst I line her up for you on a pre-recorded program that she put across this morning. Okay. And this Afro Jam from A Free Year Wuta. Enjoy it whilst I line it up.
Oh my God.
Do you feel the birds within your vein? Yeah, yeah. Melodies, the lead guitar they play. Money Obani wajo, ofitiazo. Nasa bonin kuma sasi. It's party time again. When we all come out to play. Well, it's party time again. When we all come out to play. Yeah, the trumpets go. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. African rhythms to play. Some call it Afrobeat. Come on, jump around and feel the beat. Otofonyo fefe, bakoni wayoto. Mokobiyo fefe, bakoni wato. Bekene mawona no bafeke jemanke kashiwo. Mikemi suma kemi hewale bahambole bibeke keshwane. Ohami trifa, yemi bo. African rhythms to play. Some call it Afrobeat. Come on, jump around and feel the heat. Now. Walla, wonya, hey, yalanfo. Hail the king without a crown. I be the talk around the town. No, no enemies I try to pull me down. Yet everybody jamming to my sound. Now. Yes, wonya, walla, I be back bako. It's party time again. When we all come out to play. Well, it's party time.
Okay, let's take you straight to HRH Linda Pallien, all the way in Cyprus, and let us hear what she has for us on Career 101. Stay tuned.
Some call it Afrobeat. Come on, jump around and
was join us. Unfortunately, I cannot see her face. Maybe she's busy, and that's why. But let me go to Linda and say, Linda, yes, join us. Yeah. But we know what to do, aren't we? All right then. Yes, what are we going to be looking at today?
Well, today we're going to look at a rather interesting topic: how to call in sick at work.
Oh my goodness, how to call in sick at work? Hello, good afternoon. I'm not feeling very well. I think I have cold. I have flu. Really? Okay. Well, you want to call in properly so that you don't find yourself in trouble. That is what Linda is going to be talking about this afternoon. Okay, so let me go straight to Linda. So, how to call in sick at work? Okay. Over to you, Linda.
Fantastic. And we're discussing this topic because it's the holiday season and it's winter as well in most places. So there's a lot of bugs going around and flu, and with all of what's going on in the world, it's important to touch on the subject of, unfortunately, if you manage to feel poorly, how to communicate that to your employer so that you can keep your good name and manage that relationship properly.
Okay.
So we'll talk about reasons why you call in sick at work, and actually being hangover or eating too much after Christmas isn't one. And then we're going to how to mitigate the call and how to manage it so that you can come back to work.
Okay. Well, listeners, if you are listening to us, this is a good program a good topic that you have to listen to, because we know lots of you are going to be facing all this. I mean, the past week I've not been, I think, about 10 days, getting to 2 weeks, I wasn't feeling that well. But, if you are, an employer, you whether you are sick or you still have to plot on. So you have to. But if you are an employee, maybe you want to be like the boss man himself, and then you think that, well, if I can plot on, why not go in there? But if not, I mean, we're not saying that by force just come in to do that, but at times people have good reasons why they have to take some time off. If you are let's say you have got the Omicron variant, you don't want to come into the workplace to come and infect other people. No, we don't want that. And therefore, you have to adhere to it. So please take it in context what we are talking about this afternoon. Over to you, Linda.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I was going to start from there. So some of the reasons you might call in sick work is first and foremost contagious illness. So as we're talking the COVID-19 or any other variant of that matter, of course, if you've got a contagious disease or illness, then it makes sense to protect the workplace and your colleagues, so you have a duty to yourself, even if you feel well, not to come in to protect other people. It's not to say you couldn't work from home, but definitely to take care of yourself so you're better quickly, or to work from home. And having said that, the flip side of that is there's a lot of people that are using this as an excuse, because it's, oh, I don't want to come to work, and if I say I have COVID or I've been in contact with someone that's got COVID, and then it gets me off the hook. And for anybody that might think like that, I encourage you to think about how it affects the business. Because if you come to work yesterday and you said you were in contact with somebody 2 days ago, all of the team have to go off or to have a test as well. So sometimes you put your whole team in jeopardy or the whole company in jeopardy because you want to lie about being sick. It's really important if you're going to do that to look at the consequences of that.
Okay, we are here. Please go on.
Okay. So the first thing is contagious illnesses. Second one is injury or illness that affects your productivity. And this could be physical or mental as well. If it means that you can't perform your job as much as as well as you would be expected to, then of course that's a reason to call in sick as well. Other ones include hospitalizations or having a procedure done, an operation, pregnancy, diagnosed with a medical condition. The usual reasons why you would call in sick at work. And most employers have policies in place already for these foreseeable circumstances. So these are acceptable reasons to call in sick. The second section of this part is the second section of this topic or the subject we're discussing is how to do it. So the first port of call is choose the appropriate communication method to use. Very often, and I'm guilty of this actually, I remember being told off for this, where because you normally text your manager, you send a text, but for if you're going to call in sick, then they require you to have a call, a phone call, or maybe an email with all the details so that they can document it or forward it to HR, or online chat, whatever works for your company, but you have to know what the procedures are so that you can use the right method of communication. Sometimes you have a good relationship with your team, so you think a text message will do, but then it doesn't get passed on to whoever needs to know. So the appropriate method of communication. Secondly, act quickly. If you know you're not going to be in, as quick notice as possible will help them be able to find a replacement, especially this happens with the nursing and care sector. If there's 3 people planned for the day, if you're not going to be in, if you let them know quickly, they can have an agency or a replacement. So act quickly and estimate when you'll be back to work if you can. And that's always very helpful for employers. I know from listening to my friends sometimes when they're, or even clients, when they're frustrated with their employer, they said, I told them that I have to have an emergency operation, and the first question was, when will you be back? Really sentimental about this. And yes, as much as you would like people to show some humanity and sympathize with you, their first priority from their perspective is the business. So if you're able to estimate when you're back, then they can know how to mitigate their chances. Not that they don't care, but it's just to be able to cover their background. Hopefully, they'll do both.
Yes, and of course, when it is a procedure, at least the health expert will tell you that this might be for a period of your recovery will be maybe 2 weeks or something. So you have an idea of what might happen. So if somebody asks you that, you don't take it on. Maybe some people are not nice, so why are you not coming to work? So they'll make you say, when are you coming back? Then that's trouble. But we hope that people are learning from that, and then we do the right thing for both sides. Yeah.
Absolutely. So definitely estimate the time you're back to work. Act quickly. The third point under this is keep them informed. It's very prudent to show that you still care. So keep them informed whether you hand over what tasks need to be done urgently, your absence, and whatever tools or documents they need to be able to access. Keep them informed, provide the right information so that somebody else can follow up, etc. It shows that you care. It shows that you're proactive. If you can and you don't, and then things get left behind just because you're ill and it costs the business money, that goes against you because you weren't as proactive as you could have been. Of course, nobody knows how ill you are in bed, but if you can and if you're looking for promotion, this is a career for you and you're serious about it, then do your best to mitigate the inconvenience that's caused to the employer. Also, it's worth, this is a side point from point number 3, it's worth seeing if you can work from home instead. Sometimes you get your ankle, so you can't get on the tube and go to work or walk to work, but you're able to work from home. So again, negotiating those things are very important rather than just taking the time off. Leaving them in the lurch or using up all your sick days when you might need them later. And then upon your return, how to figure out what the procedures are for your return, whether you need to do your return to work papers, your self-certification. I think in England, for most companies, under 7 days, you do a self-certification. More than 7 days, you need a doctor's note. You're signed up. So understand what the procedure is within your company and help them as much as possible with a follow-up when you're back to work. So definitely know the company's policies, be honest, because it's mutually beneficial for everyone. Prepare for your return to work. If you know you're coming in, what do you need to come in? And maybe you might need special adjustments, so say them in advance, rather than coming in and going, oh, well, my chair no longer supports my back, so I need to be off until you find me a better chair. And I know somebody that has done this.
And he wants some more time off. Interesting.
I had a back problem and they didn't have the right chair, so well, that's a requirement. So if you're giving them notice, and then also when you're phoning in sick, it's really important that you make your explanation concise. As much as you feel bad and you want them to understand that you're not faking it or whatever it is, do less symptoms and more about back to work. You know, some people like to tell you all the details. I woke up at this temperature. What I did this, and be as concise as possible. You don't feel well, you're going to go to the doctor, so you're going to take this time off, or you're going to take medication, whatever it is, and when you'll be back to work, or how long you estimate it to go for. So maybe I'll try out for a day, if not, I'll go to doctor, whatever it is. But put yourself in their position. They need to replace you or mitigate your not being there, so that as quickly as they can get on with it, the better, rather than listening to your sob story, which doesn't change the outcome
at all.
To be there.
But let me ask you one question pertaining to those who when people are returning to work. Now, the person is not fully recovered. It looks like, okay, maybe they are handling a very important role, and anything that, well, because of that, I need to force some way. It's not 100% recovered, but they want to still come in. And therefore, when it comes to the output of the person, you know that it's being impacted negatively. Now, how do you deal with that?
I think it's being honest mutually. You know, if you think, oh, do you know what, my concentration isn't what it used to be, or isn't at full, and I still have headaches or whatever it is, but making sure that your boss or whoever the stakeholder is understands that, so that they're able to outsource it or double check it before, so that you avoid sending out something that is full of mistakes because you haven't been careful. And you have to be honest with yourself too as to what you can do, because some people, as you said, want to push through it, and then it ends up with the job having to be done twice. So that's now the resources because and the person who's checking the job, the work again. So it's being honest and this two-way communication. I can do this, or maybe I take on these tasks for now that I haven't been able to do. But if it comes to physically running about and whatever, I can't do it just yet. So let's manage this. How do I do it? Would you rather I stayed at home and did the desk task? And do I have to come in and do this? You know, and talking about it. A lot of people shy away from negotiating because they feel like it will be seen negatively. But with any level-headed hiring manager or employer, they value the honesty as well. Hopefully, they know what you are capable of at your.
That's true. Because when I had maybe interaction with some presenters, and I think that the person even is not in a good frame of mind, I tell them, no, you can't do your program, because you should be able to communicate, and the people should feel. But the moment I'm like, no, just cut it, just stay away. When you are better, you come and do that. Would rather play music or do a repeat rather than you not being that well, unless of course you are the only person and you're supposed to be there, as I was doing last week. I thought, oh gosh, I was that bad, but I needed to be there, so I needed to push myself to do it. But if not, and you are an employer and you are listening to us, please, I think that will serve you a great deal. But listeners, HRH Linda Pallien bringing us Career 101, and today we are looking at how to call in sick at work. You know, not just the one that boss, I'm not feeling well. No, not that one. Some people lie, but you do it such that even when you are not there, your absence is missed, and they will want you back, not thinking that, well, this is a chance to get rid of the person. No, you don't want to do that at all. So continue to listen to her, and then we'll be putting all the details and how you can deal with all that across in a moment. Over to you, Linda.
Absolutely. I think you touched on a very important point that is very overlooked, you know, in terms of energy, the energy you bring, you know, to the work. If you're forcing yourself to be at work and you're dull, or you're very quiet, and you're not your normal self, and it's going to bring the work morale down. You really need to consider that as well, because you're not 100%, and that's part of sickness too. People think, oh, okay, well, it's been 2 days, I'm expected to get better, and you're not better, for example. Or maybe, for example, let's take a chef that's probably gone through COVID and probably lost a sense of taste and smell. That's not going to be helpful.
Very, very one that you know what. Prepare you something to eat, and you bang your head against the wall.
You might be physically walking and have all the energy as well, but needed for your job. That means you're not fully recovered. As you say, the radio presenter, if your energy levels or just your entertainment and your personality isn't the best, then you're going to hurt the ratings of your show rather than it. So as you say, it's better to play music and get the morale at least going than to. So that's a very important factor to consider, not just physically what you need to get back to work, but also these intangible aura, energy, the effect you have on others, how you sound. And for some reason, and I've noticed this especially about myself, if and I pick up a phone call and I'm in bed, people can tell straight away. And, they won't be able to tell you know. But as soon as I pick up the phone, are you tired? And people can tell these things. You know, you may lie to yourself, but you can't lie to people. Especially people that know you really well.
You're right.
It's important to acknowledge objective facts. If you're not 100%, you're not 100%, and probably it's better to 100%, unless it doesn't directly affect your output.
Okay, listeners, HRH Linda Pallien for you, she's put all that you need to know and all that you have to do if you happen not to be well and you want to call the workplace to say you are sick. The right way to do it, not lying. It's better to be upfront rather than lying tomorrow. You know, some people have said that I'm not feeling very, very well. I remember my last job that I was in, and then apparently the guy posted something on his Facebook that it was an event. And then the boss, somebody saw it, went to give it to the boss, the overall boss. And I was like, oh gosh. So when it happens like that, you put yourself in big trouble.
That happens so often where people think, oh, well, I'm just going to pull one over their eyes and, think it's or call in sick and then you're spotted in the supermarket. Or, I mean, it's just, there's no coming back from that. Once the trust is broken, so it's definitely worth considering. I mean, if you don't care about your job, but even still, if you burn those bridges, you might need them for a reference. You never know who they know in future. And of course, it's about being a person of your word and some integrity. So you would rather saying taking off a mental day, a mental sickness day, and then you can at least justify boosting your mental health than say that I'm in bed and I have a flu and you're not. That never.
That shall not lie. Well, listen to Starr Radio UK. Now let me ask you: is it captured in the books at all?
Oh, that's a good question. No, this isn't actually covered in the books, but it's a good addendum to the books for the next edition of it. How to manage this. In the books, we talk about it's more about personal development and how to make yourself better. So I tend to shy away from taking the employer side. So individuals, because it's a career coach on your side showing you how you can be better and achieve the goals you've set for yourself.
Okay, listeners, well, if you are listening to us, whether you are an employer or you are an employee, at times you need to put yourself in the shoe of somebody to know exactly what the people are thinking. So these books, now, have you bought your Christmas present for your friends, your lovely, your loved ones, or name it? Now, if you've not, or even if you have, I can still recommend this one for you. Please, please, please. Linda is going to talk about the books. She's going to sum up what we discussed and then talk about the books. Please, please. Get your hand on it and give it to somebody. Listen, for the rest of the life of the person, you are going to better the life of that person. I mean, when it comes to his employment, and he's going to be a happy person, you know? Okay, so over to you, Linda.
Absolutely. So today we've spoken about how to call in sick at work. We spoke about some of the plausible reasons, acceptable reasons to call in sick at work. And some of the not so acceptable reasons, like I'm drunk or I ate too much or whatever it is. And then we spoke about I shared some tips on doing it properly. So understanding the company's policies and preparing yourself for it. You know, sometimes your line manager might not know exactly what to do. So if you're prepared for a reset, and you can tell them, you can give them pointers. Again, it stands you in good stead as a diligent worker. Being honest and punctual, all of those tips we've discussed, and then also how to physically call in sick, whether it's by phone, by text, which method, email, whatever method is outlined for you to do it, and then how to get back into into the work once you return from your sick leave or your sickness, and perhaps sometimes when it's a good reason to work from home rather than call in sick and use up your suitcase.
Okay. Now let's talk about the book, please.
Absolutely. So there's 3 books, 3 career books, and you only need 1 or 2, whichever suits you. The first book is How to Career. So over the holidays, you've got some peace and quiet and some downtime. It's an easy read, a good time to reflect on what you're doing and how it fits your overall life goals. Is this a job for me, or is this a career? What am I going to change? When am I going to start earning what I deserve? So this is a great time to read these resources. How to Career shows you in 6 steps to analyze where you are at and where you want to go, and maybe put the steps in place to do that. Career success is boosting you to do better and to get to your next level of success. So whether it's a promotion, whether it's a job change, whether it's starting your own business, it gives you almost a checklist of how to build authority, how to do your CV, or how to build your portfolio, how to be seen as credible, how to network to get the right opportunities. And then, of course, the workbook ties it all together. It gives you pointers of what am I missing, what do I need to get to the next level, what have I considered, what am I still missing, how do I get the help to do that. And it gives you so many different ideas. I recently got some feedback from a workshop I did regarding these books, and it was fantastic. These are for middle management. And even at that level, there was a lot of things that they hadn't thought about, or a lot of things to reflect on. So it's a great resource if you're at the beginning of your career, if you're looking to change career, if you're looking to progress, and the last chapter of Career Success talks about leaving a legacy. So if you're near retirement, how to retire so that people remember your name and remember your contribution to the company. It's super important, as well as frequently asked questions. You might find, should you work for free? Should you do this secondment? Whatever it is, they're great resources. You can find them on Amazon. You can find them everywhere online. You can find them on Book Depository, Waterstones online, Nielsen. Get your hands on these books. They're less than £20 per copy, and they'll be the best resource you've done for yourself and for other people. This Christmas, give people the gift of personal growth. Help them to get to their goals, and they'll always be grateful to you for that.
Wow. I forgot the fact that you can buy some for yourself. Buy some for yourself. Treat yourself. Don't go buy trainers. Don't go buy shirt. I mean, it's just a matter of time they will wear off, and then you will have to go and buy another. But you have this one. Knowledge is power. It goes into your head. Nobody can take that one away from you. You will always have it at the tips, your fingertips, to use anytime the opportunity comes. So why not treat yourself with these 3 books? It's what? 60 quid. Only 60 quid. I bet you are going to buy something more than that to treat yourself. I tell you, after Christmas, somebody asks you, where is it, or what? You'll not even know what to say about it. But Linda, that's a good one there, yeah.
60 quid these days is a meal. And I always say, love yourself enough to invest in yourself. Don't wait for your employer. Don't wait for somebody else to come and say, oh, see something in you. You see something in yourself and bet on yourself. And this is a step in the right direction, getting these books.
Thank you very, very much. Now, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, can you put your contact details across so that the person can get it? She has been my cheerleader. She can cheer you on all the way to the top, the CEO, or whatever you want to be. So please, over to you, Linda.
Absolutely. As Archie said, I'm my cheerleader. My nickname is my cheerleader because I'm a cheerleader for your success. You can definitely get in touch with me by my website, lindapallien.com. lindapallien.com. It's coming on your screens. Pallien is spelled Pallien. Or on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Linda Pallien, or at my cheerleader, if you prefer that, at my cheerleader. And of course, I have a lot of resources that you can access for free for 10 quid, all up to 100 and more. And I do trainings as well. So whatever your needs is, just ask and we'll figure it out. Okay. But give yourself the gift of personal growth this Christmas.
Let me say good afternoon to Alhaja Aidiatu Moriana Folarain. I think you are listening to us from Nigeria. Yes, the book can still reach you. You want it, get in touch with us and we will make sure that you receive it. It will help a great deal. Okay, so let's say thank you very, very much for you joining us today on the Career 101 session as well. Tomorrow, God willing, we'll be coming your way with another smasher of a program, and that is where I want to say thank you for joining us. As many of you who have joined us on the various platforms, I say God richly bless you. Until I come your way tomorrow, it is me, Archie, saying have a top of the day, but enjoy this song from Afri Wuta, and it says an Afro jam for you. Enjoy this afternoon and have a lovely day. Bye bye for now.
Oh my God.
Do you feel the birds within your vein? Yeah. Melodies, the lead guitar they play.
The best radio show. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
It's party time again when we all come out to play.
All around the world.
When we all come out to play.
In your car,
at work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
African rhythms they play. Some call it Afrobeat. Come on, jump around and feel the heat. Put the phone you fair, back on you while you talk. Moko be your fair, back on the water.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Thanks for listening.
African rhythms they play. Some call it Afrobeat. Come on, jump around and feel the heat.